From two beautifully scenic and historic locations, the Hudson Valley, New York, and Willow, Alaska, this is the Sibe Vibe, brought to you by Dogworks Radio. Your hosts are author, journalist, and photographer, the FiveSibes mom, Dorothy Wills Raftery, and Dogworks Radio executive producer, canine behaviorist, trainer, and lead musher of Team Maneke, Robert Forto. The Sibe Vibe is all about the magnificent breed of the Siberian Husky. From training to grooming, and for those who show and breed, from parenting to playing and rescuing Huskies in need, whether mushing over snow-covered trails or lounging on tropical shores, even for Hollywood Sibes on the big silver screen, and so very much more. If it's about a Siberian Husky, we'll chat about it here.
Hello and welcome, everybody. This is Robert Forto, hosting from the KVRF 89.5 studios in Palmer, Alaska. And on the line, calling in from the FiveSibes headquarters, Dorothy Wills Raftery. Dorothy, how's it going?
Hi, it's going good, Robert. How's everything by you?
It is going well. It is a beautiful spring day here. You know, we are just about at our peak of our midnight sun. It's 3 a.m., and you can go out and cut the yard, so it's tough to get some sleep around here.
I can imagine it might be. How's the beekeeping going?
The beekeeping is going well. We probably have tripled our size in our hive. We probably have 60,000 or so bees in our little hive, and they're working overtime. Wow,
and the Huskies are all doing good?
They are doing well. How are your dogs out your way?
They're doing pretty good. The pupsters they're doing great. Gibson's rehab, I'm really pleased. He had another in-home laser treatment today. As you know, he had a bad fall on Christmas Eve, and we are now in our 6th month of rehab, and I'm starting to see some really great progress. I'm going to be posting some more pictures. I took him out on a little bit longer of a rehab walk out front this time, and he got to explore some roses and sit in the grass, and I'm really pleased with it. And, after his treatment today, I'm sure I'm going to see a little bit more improvement. I'm hoping by maybe the middle of next month I can actually turn him back with the group and let him start, being back with the family on his own. I just have to get that hind end stronger. And our Harley girl, she's starting to feel a little bit better. She's the one who had a little run-in with stinging nettles. And then we had some pretty serious gastrointestinal issues with her. And I just kind of want to let everyone know we'll talk about hemorrhagic gastroenteritis at a later date, but that seems to be what we're suspecting it kicked off in her, and it's bad bouts of going. To be pleasant on air, basically it looks like mashed raspberries, and that's pretty much a telltale sign. But I am close in touch with my veterinarian office, and she's on watch right now, and she's on the boiled chicken, rice, and pumpkin, and she's starting to bounce back, so it's looking good. So right now things are looking good.
Very good. I saw a picture on Facebook the other day of the FiveSibes selfies. I got a real kick out of that, Michelle and I. Tell us a little bit about that photo. That really touched us.
Yeah, she's great. As you can tell, that's really kind of big news here for us. Michelle and I just coordinated our book launch for the second in the FiveSibes series. As you know, and a lot of our listeners, we had anticipated on putting out last year. Due to some unforeseen circumstances, there was a delay, but we did launch it yesterday. And her and I both, if folks visit FiveSibes.blogspot.com, I have a really great in-depth interview with Michelle. And, her cats are really good proofreaders of her work, and you can check that out there. And if you jump over to her blog, she actually does a really great interview with me. So we kind of did this coordinated effort of trying to kind of get to know, the folks behind the FiveSibes tales a little bit more. So we're really pleased with Getting Healthy with Harley, and that's the book that's now available through Arctic House Publishing. So we're really excited about that. We hope everybody takes a chance to pop over there and check that out.
Well, looking forward to having you on our show to talk about that book in the coming weeks. But before we talk about that anymore, who is our guest today? I know that they have a very interesting story in of themselves.
Yes, they do. Before I jump into today, which actually today's actually we're doing a pre-taping, but it's a very special episode because this is a Father's Day episode. This Sunday when we're airing, it will be Father's Day. So happy Father's Day, Robert, and to all the dads and foster dads out there of both 2- and 4-legged kids. I hope everyone has a really very happy and special day. And in honor of Father's Day, I'm pretty excited to be chatting with fellow photographer, Siberian Husky parent, and volunteer with the Last Hope Animal Rescue, Carl Bromberg, and he's the Hugh dad to famous little Miss Suri, who at 14 weeks old traveled from their home in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, to the Big Apple in New York City, and she was one of the puppy stars and in the starting lineup of this year's Animal Planet's Puppy Bowl 10. We'll be talking to Carl all about that trip and how exciting it must be to be a dad of a famous pup. And yes, she has her own Little Miss Suri Facebook page. And also, it's a pretty remarkable story about how Suri came to be. So I'm really very excited to talk to him and have our listeners hear about that story. Before we jump in, I'd like to just share a little bit about Carl, who just loves Huskies. He credits both of his parents who, while he was growing up, he says they were very animal-friendly, and they got him his first dog at age 12. And Carl says his father especially always taught him to be kind to animals, no matter how big or small, helping him to grow up with a mindset, he says, of be kind to animals because they can't talk for themselves, so we humans need to speak for them. And Carl became involved with rescuing 4 years ago after coming upon a shocking discovery one day while hiking, which I'm going to let Carl tell us about when we get more into talking to him. His rescue work is also what led him to apply his photography skills to help out dogs with needs. And as owner of Vision Photography in Cedar Rapids, he's also a volunteer photographer at 2 local shelters and a rescue, and we'll chat more with him about the important connection between photography and rescue animals. So without further delay, Carl, welcome to the Sibe Vibe.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So, Carl, I want to start by going back to your childhood and the lessons that you learned from your parents. You talked about how your dad especially instilled care and concern for all animals, even ants. Can you tell us that story and the valuable respect your dad has for all living creatures?
Sure. The ants are kind of an interesting story. I was young. I was probably about 7 or 8 or whatever, and there was ants on the sidewalk, and I was outside playing, kind of getting bored, so I started stepping on the ants and, trying to keep them down, and more kept coming, and I kept stepping on more, and finally my dad saw me, and he stopped me from doing it. He didn't yell at me or anything. He just stopped me and explained to me that ants were living creatures too, and that they were just working and doing what they needed to do, and how would it feel if I was a giant, how would I feel if a giant came by and just started trying to step on me and things like that. And that was kind of my first lesson on being nice to animals.
Now, we all know that children learn from their parents, and you obviously had a wonderful role model as a child in your dad. And can you tell us about when your dad heard some kids abusing a cat and what happened to that cat?
Sure. We were in the process of selling our house, and we were looking at this one house, and we heard this horrible noise coming from over the fence next door at this house, and looked over the fence, and my dad saw 2 teenagers being really mean to a cat, throwing it around and hitting it and just being very cruel to the cat. And my dad jumped the fence and grabbed hold of the 2 kids by the collar and kind of lifted them up off the ground, and he's like, "What are you guys doing?" And they were like, "Oh, it's just a stray cat, and we're just having some fun with it before we kill it." And that was the wrong thing to say to my dad. He was picked them up again and just kind of banged them together. It's like, how does that feel? And they were like, "Well, not very good." And anyway, long story short, the cat meanwhile ran off and kind of hid underneath a bench, and he told the 2 kids that he was going to be watching them, And he's like, you said the cat was a stray, and they said, yeah. And he says, well, I'm going to take the cat, and I'm going to be keeping an eye on you guys, and if I ever catch you guys doing this again, I'm going to report you. I'm going to call the police, and you'll be lucky if that's all I do. So anyway, let them go after scaring them, and coaxed the cat out from underneath the bench that it was hiding at, and we ended up taking the cat with us, and that cat ended up living with us for about the next 10 years.
Oh, how wonderful. I mean, your dad sounds like a terrific person, and great role model, I think, for a child, and, maybe, who knows, maybe even set these kids in the neighborhood on a good path, As we mentioned in the intro, you became involved in rescue, you said about 4 years ago, and it was after a pretty horrific find while hiking. Can you tell our listeners what you came across that fateful day when you realized part of your destiny was rescue?
Sure. Me and a friend of mine were out just on the trail, nature trail, hiking. We ventured off trail a little bit, as we did it quite often, to take pictures and things like that, nature pictures. And something kind of caught our eye. It was a soft-sided, small pet carrier. We thought that was kind of strange to be out where we were, and we went over to it, and to our surprise, there was a skeleton inside it, in a food bowl and apparently a water dish. There's 2 bowls in there. Anyway, the skeleton had a paw. It was a skeleton of a small animal. We don't know if it was a cat or a dog. We really couldn't tell. But the poor thing was the door on it was shut, and apparently it was just left there to die a long, slow, tedious death. And anyway, we went off, and we had some tools with us and things like that, and we ended up burying the cat, whatever it was, and but the sight of that kind of haunted both of us for quite a while afterwards. And I was, sitting back one evening, kind of thinking back on it. This was about a week later, I guess it was, and it was like, man, why God, you let people do this? Why don't you have people? Why do people do this? And help stop people. And it's kind of like the old saying on some of the Facebook posts you see. It's I did make somebody, made you. So it kind of, I saw that post and kind of rang true, and ever since I've been involved with rescue. So.
Wow. Now, you've said, and I quote, "I am proud to be an animal advocate. It's not just a dog or cat. It's a loving, caring being full of unconditional love." Those are such true words that you actually live by, and you're also a foster parent. And I wanted to talk a little bit about how fostering helps save lives, and I thought maybe you can share a few insights as a foster parent with some of our listeners who may be thinking that they'd love to help out by fostering. Maybe they can't adopt, but, they'd like to foster. And I think it's really important to let folks know just how important and how fostering does help.
Sure, there are so many animals out there that are abused and sitting in shelters waiting for another home, and so many of them don't make it out. And by fostering, for every foster home there is out there, one animal can be saved at a time, and it definitely saves lives. I mean, if a rescue has an open foster, then they can pull a dog that's in danger of being euthanized, or another dog that, maybe had been abused, or another one similar to Suri's parents that, had been in a hoarding situation and were never really socialized any of their life and just lived outside 24/7. If they were lucky, they got food and water daily if they were lucky. There's just so many animals out there that need help, and the more fosters that are out there that these animals have a place to go to, the more animals that we can save. And I've heard a lot of excuses like, well, I just get too attached and keep it. Well, sometimes maybe that's going to happen. That's happened to me a few times, and nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, sometimes it's hard to give them up. But when you see them going to that new forever home and they're kind of rehabilitated and they're trusting people again, and you just see them going to that for the home visit. When you see them going to that home with their tail up and see the smiles on the new owner's faces and you know, how happy the dog is or the cat, and you know, it just warms your heart. It's just an indescribable feeling of, you know, wow, that's cool.
Right. You helped that animal, yeah.
Right.
You gave it a chance it didn't have before. Now, you fostered. Now, if someone, say, is listening and they've never fostered before, what does fostering entail?
It just entails bringing it's kind of like human foster child. You bring the dog into your home, and you know, if it needs medical issues taken care of, you take care of that. Many times it's just an animal that's, you know, had a hard life and needs some time in a home and get some love and some attention. And, you know, dogs especially are just so resilient. They forget about the past. They will come around pretty quickly, depending on how, you know, bad they were abused and whatnot. But you just take them in, you feed them, you take care of them, and most cases, the rescue that you're working with will supply the food and supply the vet, you know, any vetting that the animal needs, and you know, it's like I say, it helps save the animal's life, and it's just a wonderful feeling to be able to help an animal in need.
Now, Carl, you have several Siberian Huskies of your own. Can you tell us about, how you first became interested in Siberian Huskies, and who was your first Husky, who do you have now, and maybe a little bit about each one that's in your family?
Sure. My first Husky was Chief, and I got him probably about 8 years ago. He was about 5 when I got him, and he was an awesome dog. He was a therapy dog, and the people I knew, his owners, they had 5 Huskies themselves. They lived out on 2 acres of land, and anyway, the guy got sick. He had cancer, and he could no longer take care of the dogs and whatnot. And little by little, he, you know, found them all good homes, and I knew them. I used to go out to, you know, barbecues and things like that at their house and whatnot, and I was always attached to their Huskies, and thought they were just really awesome dogs, and they were just all super behaved, and all 5 of them were therapy dogs also. And there's one in particular called Little Chief, and me and him were always really close. So anyway, when he got sick, he asked me if I'd take Chief, you know, saying that they just really couldn't take care of them all anymore, and he was hoping to, you know, that find some good homes that, you know, with people that he trusted, and you'd like me to take Chief. And I was like, yeah, I sure will. I'll take Chief and mean it, you know, and I'll be more than happy to. And I had 2 other dogs at the time, and Chief would have probably been the only other dog I would have considered adding to my pack at the time. He was just a wonderful dog, and he also got me into therapy work and whatnot. And there's a really interesting story. We saw a lot of elderly people at went mostly to nursing homes and things like that, retirement homes. And we went in one time, and there was a young woman, mid-30s, and she'd been there for probably about 8 weeks, I think it was. And about 6 months prior to that, she had been in a really horrific car wreck, and she had only been married for about 6 months. And she just kind of shut down. It was really horrific, like I say, car wreck. And she saw her husband in not too good a shape and whatnot. And she just basically shut down and stopped taking care of herself, and just really you know, so her family kind of put her in this home, you know, to help rehab her, and because she, you know, like I say, she just wouldn't take care of herself or, you know, do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Chief and I went in, and one of the nurses asked us to stop into her room, and so Chief and I walked in, and she looked at Chief, and Chief did his thing, and kind of went over to her and kind of nuzzled up to her. Chief was one of these dogs that just had a wonderful healing energy to him. And anyway, within about 5 minutes with Chief, one of the other things she hadn't done is she just wouldn't speak to people, and it had been 6 months since she spoke any kind of word to anybody.
Wow.
Within 5 minutes of Chief being there, she just went, "My, aren't you beautiful?"
Oh.
And anyway, the nurse kind of was in the background doing some things or doing some paperwork, and her mouth, I could kind of see out of the corner of my eye, her mouth kind of dropped, you know, and kind of a surprised look on her face. And anyway, we finished up the visit, and the nurse caught me on the way out and says, "Do you realize what's happening there?" And I was like, "No." And she went, "Well, the woman hasn't spoken in about 6 months to anybody or anything." And anyway, within about 6 weeks after that first visit, we had gone back several more times at the request of the nurse. She's like, "Please come back." And more than happy to. And within about 6 weeks, she was out and taking care of herself again and back out on her own and everything else. So anyway, Chief was just one of those really...
Wow, that's amazing.
He was an awesome dog. He was an amazing dog. And I had him for many years. And cancer finally got him when he was about 11. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. It happens. Anyway,
I think your pack wants to be on air.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
They want to say hi to all the FiveSibes listeners.
Yeah, the neighbor dog came out, so they have to go and say hi and be vocal. And,
of course.
You know, yeah.
I like to think they want to say hi to the listeners.
Yeah, that works too. Yep.
Especially Suri, right?
Yep.
Now, how many Huskies do you have now? Or actually, I should just ask you. I don't know if they're all Huskies. I mean, how many are in your pack now, and who are they?
I've got 2 older lab girls, golden labs, and one is Mia, and she's actually a lab mix, and she is 12 right now. And then I have Charlotte, and she's a foster tail, and she's 11. And she's actually a cancer survivor. She was a foster of mine that I adopted here about 2 years ago. And she's also kind of responsible for me finding Chief, or not Chief, but Caleb, who is about a 5-year-old Husky now. He was 3 when I adopted him. I went in to pick Charlotte up as a foster and heard there was a Husky. And it was about time for me to get another Husky because I had been looking for about 6 months for another Husky to use to, because like I say, Chief had sold me on the breed. And when I was in there doing the paperwork for Charlotte to pick her up, heard about a Husky being back there, and so I asked to look at the Husky while I was there at Animal Control, and went back and took one look at Caleb. He looked at me, and it was like, yeah, the one. Anyway, so there's the 2 labs, Charlotte and Mia, ages 11 and 12. There's Caleb, he's age 5. And then there's, I just made official and adopted Suri's mom, Jessie, who's 10. And, of course, I adopted Suri. So I've got 3 Huskies and 2 labs right now, officially. And
wow.
I'm still fostering her suspected father, too, Titan.
Titan.
The white Husky. Yeah.
Wow. And they're beautiful. And I also just I actually wanted to talk about Mia. She has canine epilepsy, and she's one of the stars in my upcoming book, which is the Epic
Right.
Dog Tales: Heartfelt Stories About Dogs Living and Loving Life with Canine Epilepsy.
Right.
What is your experience with living with a special needs dog, and can you just share a little, with others, how important it is not to pass by these dogs when they're in shelters who need loving homes?
Sure. Yeah, they need homes too, and they need loving, caring homes. And Mia is got an interesting story to her too. Got her. Long story short, I was walking another dog of mine one day, and we took a different path. And in a garage, we saw somebody beating up on this 6-month puppy, and just beating it real hard with a newspaper, and really, really hard. And so I had to stop and say something, and the guy was really upset, really mad and whatnot, and said a few choice words to me, and then he said, well, if you think you can do better, here, you take the dog. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll be happy to get it out of this place. So anyway,
Wow.
When she was about 4 years old is when she had her first seizure, and it totally freaked me out. I had no idea what was going on. And so I just, kind of made her as comfortable as I could until she came out of it. And next day I took her to the vet. I explained what had happened a little bit, and his gut feel was that she had epilepsy, and he wanted to run a few more tests and things to rule out other things and whatnot. But anyway, long story short on that, we tried a lot of different things, a lot of different diets and whatnot, and we're kind of using your herb supplement, and had her on meds for a little bit and whatnot to control the seizures and whatnot. But once again, long story short, she's been seizure-free for 11 months now, I think it is.
That's wonderful. And she's 12, right, Carl?
Yeah, she's 12, yeah.
She's 12. So it goes to show that a dog that starts with seizures at 4, there are treatments and care that they can live, and that's what this book is about, that Mia is also
right.
in, where you go more in depth with her story. But, it is very important that people don't pass these dogs up, because if they do have seizures or canine epilepsy, there are so many of us out here who have one, and, it's nothing to be afraid of. With special care and love, these dogs can have really wonderful lives.
Yes,
it's not always easy, but it is definitely, they can have great lives, and I wouldn't trade Gibson for the world. I've learned so much from him, and so much love, and I know Mia's the same way, and they deserve another look. And I mean, Mia's gorgeous, and people get to see her in the book because she's just beautiful. Well, plus your photography, which we're definitely going to talk about. Just for those of us who are tuning in, this is the Sibe Vibe on DogWorks Radio, and today we're celebrating Father's Day with Siberian Husky Hugh Dad Carl D. Bromberg of Visions Photography in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. He is also an animal advocate and foster parent to huskies in need, actually animals in need. His one husky, Suri, was one of the puppy stars of the 2014 Animal Planet's Puppy Bowl, and she is a wonderful, amazing miracle story herself. You can follow Carl on his Visions Photography Facebook page, or Suri's adventures on her Facebook page titled Little Miss Suri, and that's SURI. And check out our blog post on FiveSibes.blogspot.com, and just type in Puppy Bowl Suri for my article featuring the official Puppy Bowl photo of Suri and the pregame interview with Carl and Suri. That's also posted on my blog post from then. Carl, I love the story of Suri. I think she stole a lot of hearts of people out there in Facebook land. Please tell our listeners about the amazing story of this husky puppy. How she came to be. Her mom and dad, survived a horrendous hoarding situation, and Suri was a real surprise, wasn't she? And a real blessing to boot. I just want you to tell us about how, you saved her, the circumstances, how Jessie was ready to be spayed, and then due to fate, you were granted such a precious gift, although a very big surprise in Suri's arrival. I mean, it's a fantastic story, so I can't wait for you to tell our listeners.
Okay, sure. Jessie and Titan came to me through the rescue. and the way they were rescued is they were in a really, like you said, really bad hoarding situation. The lady that had the dogs, she'd called several different rescues, and we told her we could take 3, and they decided to take 2 Huskies and Titan and Jessie, and a little Chihuahua. When they got there, she lived over by the Mississippi River, and it was really starting to flood, and things were getting pretty bad there. That's why she had called some different rescues. She cared enough to at least, not let the dogs drown and things like that. She knew the flood was coming, and so anyway, the 2 people from our rescue went over there to pick them up, and Jessie and Titan were their kennel was in 6 inches of water.
Wow.
They had been living outside 24/7 for pretty much most of their life, and she was also kind of a backyard breeder and breeding some of these dogs and whatnot too. And we could tell that Jessie was had puppies before and whatnot, and they were both pretty filthy, and their ears were just caked full of gunk and goo, and they both had really severe ear infections. Titan's is still kind of ongoing. We're still working with his ears. Jessie's has been pretty much taken care of. She hasn't had any problems with her ears in quite a while now. This was about a year ago, and a little over a year ago. I had just become free as a foster, and they knew I loved Huskies and whatnot, so they asked me if I'd take Titan and Jessie. And they were really, really, really skittish dogs. They were afraid of humans. They, like I say, said earlier, they were not socialized. And they just were very unsure of everything. And they were very bonded together, which is why they wanted to keep them together. Wherever Titan went, Jessie was not very far behind Titan. So she kind of would take his lead, on whatever she did. Anyway, I got them. They brought them over to me and did intros with my dogs, and no issues there or anything. But it took me a good half a day to get them to even come up to me and let me pet them. And I just kind of sat out in the afternoon in the backyard and with a bag of treats and kind of sat down and let them come to me instead of trying to scare them and come to them. So I just let them take their time and threw treats over toward them, and little by little they kind of would come over and get just a little bit closer. And then it ended up being nighttime. Tried time to come in, and I was like hoping to get them inside and at least in a crate inside the house for the evening, and they weren't going to have none of that. I tried hot dogs, I tried roast beef, I tried just about anything I could to entice them to come inside the house, and they just would not do it. And long story short on that, it ended up taking me almost a week to get them to come inside my home, and I just left the back. The weather had been really nice and whatnot. It was early spring, and I just left the back door open, figuring that they'd come in on their own terms and whatnot. Each day I try a little bit more and spend a lot of time with them. Out in the backyard, earning trust with them and things like that. And anyway, about 6 days after I had them, Titan finally came in for a very brief tour of the house. He kind of came in through the back door and into the dining room area and kind of looked around and sniffed around, and Jessie kind of came in through the threshold of the doorway a little bit. Then Titan went right back out again, and little by little, he throughout the next 24 hours, he would come in, and he finally spent the night inside a crate that I had by the back door, and seemed like, wow, this is kind of nice being inside. And I still couldn't get Jessie in, though. She would hang out by the back door and just kind of kept watching Titan as he'd come in and outside. And And when I got up the next morning, Jesse was sitting in the Jesse and Titan were both sitting in the living room.
Aww.
So, a little bit of patience, a little bit of love, and a little bit of, bribes in the form of treats and things like that. And, like I say, a lot of patience. They finally, trusted me enough to come inside, and, then we had to work on housebreaking them and things like that. But, it just took a lot of patience, a lot of care. And Titan had been spayed before, or neutered before he came to me. But Jessie hadn't been spayed yet. And I had scheduled a spay appointment for her, and out of the blue, I just got, totally busy that day, and there's just no way I could make that spay appointment for her. So I called up the vet, and rescheduled it for a week later, and little did I know. None of it, back up a second, Jessie was really, really skinny. She's up to about 55 pounds now, but she was just under 40 pounds when I first got her.
Wow.
She was about like 38, 39 pounds. So she was really, really skinny, so we had no clue that she was pregnant. And if you date back the gestation period and whatnot, she had gotten pregnant just right before the rescue had gotten her. And anyway, like I said, none of us knew that she was pregnant.
Well, talk
really
about
no
fate with you being busy that day, right?
Yeah, no kidding. If she'd have been spayed that day, Suri wouldn't have been here. The 2 days before the second spay appointment, I came home from a fair with my grandkids, and inside the crate with Jessie that day, there was a little puppy. And that really kind of freaked me out, because I had never been around a dog that was giving puppies before. And so I called up the rescue, the lady that runs the rescue, and my foster lead, and was texting and calling and texting and saying, hey, I need some help here. Jesse's having puppies.
Guess what?
And anyway, I finally got a hold of the lady that runs that's in charge of the rescue, Sonia. And Sonia suggested and another person from the rescue, Chad, came over and kind of was going to help and whatnot. And Sonia suggested that we go out to the 24-hour emergency clinic just to get Jessie checked out, make sure there was any, since there was just the one pup, make sure that there wasn't any stuck still inside her, and that since Jessie was pretty skinny and whatnot, that the puppy was healthy and everything. So we gathered him up and took him out to the 24-hour vet clinic. And they're clean bill of health on both of them. And so it was just the one puppy, so we brought him home and put him in my middle bedroom, which is the warmest room in the house and whatnot. And just kind of let him hang out in there and set up a little swimming pool, little kiddie pool, to where the puppy could stay and whatnot and not get into anything else. But if Jessie would have been spayed on that first appointment, Suri may not be here today.
It's such an incredible story. I mean, I can't even imagine, coming home and you see her, it's like, wow.
It was a total surprise.
I mean, really, it's and then getting to see her grow up on Facebook is amazing. She's a beautiful, beautiful pup. And she announced, of course, happily on her Facebook page, and as you said before, that she's now been officially adopted by you. And her name now is short, you said, for surprise. And it's a pretty cool way her name was chosen. So can you tell us how her mom helped pick her name?
Yeah, there was, we had it down to three names. Or I had it down to three names, and I kind of got the suggestions from some people. God, I'm terrible at naming dogs and whatnot. So, there was three suggestions. Suri was one of them. Mira was another one, short for Miracle, and Ada. Anyway, I liked all three of them and really couldn't decide. So I just had an idea one night. I wrote all three names on three different pieces of paper, and then I put them upside down, and then I put treats on top of the papers. And I let Jessie Suri's mom choose the name by the first treat that she went to, and that just happened to be Suri. So.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So her mom chose her name.
Yep.
Now, Carl, I love your photography work. You take absolutely breathtaking photographs. I love going over and looking at them, especially love the ones of your dogs, Suri, her mom Jessie, the ones of Mia. I know you have Caleb up there, and you did this great Red Riding Hood shoot, too, featuring one of your Huskies, right? That was in that?
Yeah, it was, Caleb, and actually we used Titan and Suri for a little bit, too, yeah.
Very cool. Let's talk a little bit about what originally interested you in photography. Can you give us a little background on being a photographer?
Like a lot of photographers, I had a thing for taking pictures, major thing for taking pictures, and became kind of a designated photographer for an annual Halloween party that a group of us would all chip in money for every year, and kind of became the official photographer for that. And other things happened, and some people asked me to do their wedding and things like that. And then I got caught up in a layoff at the company I was working at. They were cutting back, and it was really kind of a tough time, so I decided to start doing photography until I found something else, and it just kind of took off, and started learning from some other photographers that were kind enough to teach me a few things, tricks that I needed to do and things like that. So yeah, that's pretty much how I got started with the photography and doing it professionally. And you
don't just do animals, you do people, you do events. I mean, so across the board, your photography, right?
Right. Yeah.
Now,
it's pretty varied. Yeah.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, it's pretty varied. I've been with the local orchestra here in town. I've been doing their photography for about 6 years now, and at all their events and things like that. So I do a little bit of events, high school seniors. Pet photography is what I enjoy the most, though. So.
Now, photography is a very important aspect to rescues and shelters. It's the window for potential foster and adoptive families to see the dogs that are available for homing. When you go to do these shoots of the homeless dogs, what is it you are looking to capture? And, from your perspective, talk about the importance of photographing these dogs.
Yeah, it's if you Google photography and rescue dogs, you'll see all over the internet that how important the pictures are. When people are looking for a dog on the internet, which is the way a lot of people find their pets nowadays through Pet Finder and things like that, through rescue and shelter websites, and a lot of it on Pet Finder, like I say. When they're looking through there, the picture is the first thing that catches their eye with a prospective dog. And when I photograph the dogs for the local shelters here and for the rescue, what I'm looking for is I want to try and bring out some of that dog's personality in the picture to give the potential adopters a little insight into who the dog is and what they're like and things like that. Some dogs are easier to do that with than others, and others take a little bit more time than others. But I never rush into it with any of the dogs. I always kind of pat them and get to know them a little bit first, and then another handler kind of goes off and helps with the dogs. Or if it's a secured area like this one shelter has, we kind of let them off leash and let them just kind of be themselves. And when the moment's right, and snap, and there's the shot. So that's kind of how I do it anyway.
Now, how hard is it to depict their personalities via film? And I use quote fingers here because today everything is basically digital card. But especially, to capture those personalities, I'm sure a lot of them haven't shown it since they're probably scared or stressed or nervous being in the shelter. So how do you, is it patience? Is it waiting it out? Do you use treats? I mean, and how do you work with them in order to capture this? And I guess how long does it take too? I mean, I know it's not a go in, shoot, and get out type of situation.
It takes about 15 to 20 minutes per dog. We spend the time with them. Some dogs, that's an average time. Some dogs maybe a half hour, a little bit more skittish ones. Just kind of get their trust. A lot of it's treats. A lot of them respond to squeaky, stuffy toys. Some respond to balls, especially labs and golden retrievers and things like that. Breeds like that, hunting dogs. After a while, you just kind of try different things, and some dogs maybe not be interested in a stuffy, but they might be interested in the ball, or they might be interested in a treat, and then there's some dogs that just aren't interested in any of that, and we just those are the ones that take a little bit longer, and just kind of wait them out, and eventually their tails will come up, and they'll start. Which is the one shelter we have is really great for that, because they've got probably about an acre and a half yard that all fenced in, where they can kind of let them off leash and let them play in the grass and sniff the smells, and just kind of be dogs back there.
Yeah.
So that makes it really easy there, or easier there. Other dogs at the other shelter and some of the rescue dogs, we just take on walks on nature trails, or like with the animal control dogs that that I photograph. We kind of take them outside and let them play in the grass a little bit, and just work with them. And like I say, we never rush into bringing out the camera at first. We just kind of just entice them with treats, give them treats, pet them, give them attention, things like that. In a lot of cases, that is enough to get it there. So each dog is a little bit different, each one's an individual, just like all our pets are. And, so you just kind of get to know them a little bit, and like I say, when the moment's right, then snap, and you've got the shot.
Yeah, that's great, and they're beautiful shots. And it really is important, as we said before, because it is the window to the dog. And I think I think people are so visual, so they do want to seeing a photo is so important. So if there are folks who and you volunteer a lot of your time, right, with the shelters. I just think it's really a great thing that, if there are other photographers who are out there, this is a great way to help out too. If you can't adopt or foster, maybe go in and see if you can help them with photographing their dogs, so that they can help get them homes. For those of us just tuning in, again, this is the Sibe Vibe on DogWorks Radio, and today we're celebrating Father's Day with Siberian Husky Hugh Dad Carl D. Bromberg of Visions Photography in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. He's also an animal advocate and foster parent to huskies and dogs in need. His one husky, Suri, was one of the puppy stars of the 2014 Animal Planet's Puppy Bowl, and she's a wonderful, amazing miracle story herself, as you've heard. You can follow Carl on his Visions Photography Facebook page, or Suri's Adventures on her Facebook page titled Little Miss Suri, and again, that's SURI. And again, I have a blog post on my FiveSibes.blogspot.com. Type in Puppy Bowl Suri in my search box, and it'll pop up the article I did that has the official Puppy Bowl photo of Suri and a great pregame interview with Carl. So check it out. And getting back to Little Miss Suri, I'd like to chat about her starring in this year's Animal Planet's Puppy Bowl. How exciting for her to hit the bright lights big city. And for our listeners, there are some great shots of her in Manhattan on her Facebook page, so be sure to check that out. And Carl, tell us, how did it come about that she was on the show? Was there an audition, or, kind of walk us through that?
Okay, sure. Whereas about the last week of August, first week of September last year, the rescue had gotten an email from Animal Planet, from the executive producer at Animal Planet, for the Puppy Bowl. And his name was Max, and he was asking for, if we had any puppies that were going to be approximately 12 weeks old by the first week of October, to either submit a picture or a video of the dog. And then they would get back to us, and more kind of a casting call type thing. and this apparently went out to shelters and rescues all over the country and whatnot. So we figured, well, Suri's, that's perfect age. I mean, that's perfect timing for Suri's going to be 14 weeks and, first week of October there. And so perfect timing. And she's a cutie pie. So, why not? Let's see if we can't get her in. So I took one of the pictures that I had taken of her on her first outing into the backyard when she was 6 weeks old and sent that in, and a couple other shots I got the same day. And about 2 weeks later, we got an email back from them saying that, yes, bring Suri to New York City. Here's a list of hotels that are pet-friendly. This is where we're going to be taping it. Please let us know if you can make it and, confirm with us and everything like that. So we were like, okay, now we need to raise some money to get to New York City. And they also asked if we had any other puppies to go ahead and submit a picture of that puppy too, and they could bring an additional puppy with them. The rescue could bring an additional puppy. So we had just gotten in this German Shepherd pup named Cece, German Shepherd mix, and she was a really cutie pie herself. So they said, yeah, bring her too. She's just really cute. She had the biggest old ears for a little puppy. Really cute. Anyway, so we did that. We had a really quick makeshift fundraiser that we put together on the fly, and we raised about $2,800, enough to get the two of us to New York City and rent a car. And we debated on whether to fly or rent a car and just drive, and we kind of decided to go with renting a car. And the rest is kind of history.
Now, part of that fundraising you did was the selling of the T-shirts, right? I mean, and I have a Suri T-shirt. You had two great designs on them. They were really adorable. Can you talk about how the designs were, or who created those designs?
The one picture was a picture I took of her, the photograph. The other one was kind of a caricature, and one of the shelters, the Humane Society that I volunteer for here in town, they have an open house every year, and they have this a lady that does caricatures of animals, and that's where the other design came from.
They're really great, and we're thrilled to have one. Now, the Puppy Bowl is all about pet adoption and rescues, and the players are all rescue pups like Suri. I know you participated in what's called a viewing party, one of many that's held around the country, which is to help raise attention and funding for rescues and homeless dogs. But can you tell us exactly what a viewing party is, what it entails, what do people do there, and so on?
Sure, a lot of people, we wanted to make it pet friendly so people could bring their dogs with them, and basically all it is it's we schedule around the live the first broadcast of the actual Puppy Bowl, and we had big screen TVs all throughout the place. To watch the show and watch the Puppy Bowl, and Suri to make her debut, and we had all the local channels coming out and for the viewing party, and even that week before the viewing party, once Animal Planet released that she was going to be local dogs were going to be in the Puppy Bowl. We went through quite a media blitz here that week before the Puppy Bowl. We were on morning programs on 3 different television stations here in town, and also on a radio station and newspaper, and then another person from Des Moines wanted to do an article on it too. So it got quite a bit of press, local area press notification or attention, and that helped, and all of them were really great in helping us to promote the viewing party. And at that viewing party, we raised roughly about $3,800 for the rescue that Suri was with, Last Hope Animal Rescue.
That's great. Now, so I have to ask, does all the fame of TV interviews, being on E! News Online, has this given her any more of a husky diva attitude than usual, or is she pretty unaffected by it all?
She's pretty much unaffected by it all. Being a husky, she's a bit of a diva anyway, so.
Now, when you first arrived in New York City, what did she think of all the big, tall skyscrapers and the busyness?
Busyness, she was kind of shy of it first, especially with all the people. Because New York City, especially Manhattan, you pretty much walk wherever you go, and if you have to take an animal on a cab or a subway or everything, you have to have them in a pet carrier. And so to avoid that, we kind of just did a lot of walking. We were there for a total of 5 days, and the puppy bowl taping took up one of those days, and so we had the other 4 days basically to do some sightseeing and see some of the sights and things like that. So we did a lot of walking around New York City with both pups, and they both got just, you walk around Manhattan with two little cute puppies, and just about every street corner you come to, you get a lot of oohs and ahs, and ooh, can I pet the dog? And we had a police officer, this picture's on Facebook page too. There was a police officer in Times Square that was just really caught up with Suri. Oh, she's beautiful, she's absolutely beautiful, and he asked me to take a picture of him with his cell phone, and I asked if I could take one with mine too, and he said sure and whatnot. So, but yeah, just about everywhere we went in New York City. Yeah,
it's a great city. I mean, I think a lot of people sometimes are intimidated by it, but it for a big city, it can be quite friendly, and it's a great city. And I'm sure having a little husky puppy down there would be quite an attraction.
Yeah,
now,
I mean, she was 14 weeks and full of cuteness, and yeah, she's just
little star of the Big Apple.
yeah, she was a little shy at first, but she kind of warmed up to the people, and like I say, just about every street corner we'd come to, there'd be, where we'd stop to wait for the, cross the street or whatever. People would gather around. Oh, can I pet her? Can I pet her? And she kind of warmed up to that pretty good, pretty quickly.
Now it's Puppy Bowl Day. Was she nervous? Were you nervous? Can you walk us through and what that experience was like?
They've got this down to a science, and absolute science. When they, Caleb and Suri are playing in the background here.
She knows we're talking about her.
Yeah, probably so. But yeah, they've got it down to a science. They first had to come in and do a quick vet check to, check all the vet records, make sure you got the right records and everything like that, because one of the requirements is they had to have their second series of puppy shots by that time, so they wanted to check all the paperwork and make sure on that, because they didn't want to take any chances on anything spreading there. When we got there, there was there was 2 sessions of the taping. There was the morning session and the afternoon session, and we were in the morning session. And they come in, they do the pet checks, and then they do pictures, and they do a short video of the dogs, and kind of go through the different lines and whatnot. And while this is going on, some of the dogs are on the playing field, and other people are getting their pictures and things taken, whatnot. And the whole place is lined with wall-to-wall puppy pads. You got 40-something puppies there at one time, and accidents do happen.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a crew, and an accident happened, that puppy pad would come up, and they'd, replace it with another one. And
she have a good time in the playing field?
Yeah, she had a pretty good time in the playing field. She started out really strong and did really good. And she kind of wore out for a little bit and kind of sat out in the end zone for a while, and then she got a second burst of energy, and she made a couple good tackles and things. She almost made a touchdown, but she got distracted with another dog, and she's out doing zoomies now.
So now tell me, is it true that she's a big Miley Cyrus fan? I read that, and that she was smitten with Miley's unfortunately late Clecae now, Floyd. Does she rock to her music when you're not home?
Yeah, she's got it on her own little iPad, or yeah, a lot of Miley stuff on her iPad. So.
She's such a lucky pup indeed, and a miracle pup. She has a loving home, and her parents are there, and now she's adopted into your family, and she's been on TV and the print media, social media, has her own Facebook page. What's next for beautiful little Miss Suri?
Oh, probably being a spokespup for rescue dogs everywhere, and things like that, and promoting animal advocacy and things like that. We've been to a couple different schools now, talking to school kids about, proper ways to care for dogs, and a little bit about rescue here and there, and, what rescue is all about, and,
that's great.
Things like that, so.
That's really great. And it's wonderful the work that you do for rescues and huskies and animals in need. Now, every picture does indeed tell a story, and you have a fabulous quote on your Visions photography page that I love, and I think it really sums up everything. Your creative eye, your love of huskies and animals, and Suri's story, all of which you've captured in your beautiful photography. And it says, quote, "I have a story to tell. It keeps me on my toes. It wants to be written in a photograph. It wants to show. This story is yours, for memories always grow." I think that's really great, and it totally sums up, everything that you do. And I hope everyone goes and checks out Little Miss Suri's page and your Visions photography page. And before we sign off, I just want to check in with my co-host, Robert. The hour flew so fast. I just want to check in, see if there's anything you wanted to ask Carl or anything you want to add.
No, everything is good. Another great show as always, Dorothy. Thank you, Carl, for joining us today and sharing the story of Little Suri.
Yeah, Carl, thank you so much. It's great having you on the Sibe Vibe. Please give Little Miss Suri big husky hugs from the FiveSibes and I, and happy Father's Day to you. And
thank you.
It's great, and we'll be chatting online as always.
Sounds great. Well, thank you for having me, and definitely enjoyed it.
It's been a pleasure. It's the hour went too fast.
Yeah, it does. It does go quick. You warned me about that.
Yep, I did, right? Happy Father's Day to you, and Robert, to you too. And like I said, to all the dads, all the Hugh dads, the dads, and the foster dads who are all tuning in for this episode. Hope you have a great day. And until next time, everybody take care.
Thank you guys, and see you guys next time. Goodbye.